With drooping eyes, I tidied up the table, packed the burnt spaghetti, and walked out of the classroom in a disheartened manner.
Excuse me. Could you give me what you have in your hand?
I turned around, and there he was, Ethan Parker. The object of my unrequited love for 3 years in college. I was so excited that I trembled, almost dropping the spaghetti into the trash can.
Excuse me. I can pay you. Is $500 enough?
Ethan Parker frowned deeply, a hint of panic flashing across his face, as if he was afraid I would refuse.
No need for money, you can have it.
I bent down, straightened my arm, and handed my creation to Ethan Parker.
Thank you.
Ethan Parker looked at the tragically burnt spaghetti, the veins on his forehead twitching a few times. He took a deep breath and pulled out a spoon.
This is not edible.
I was too late. Suddenly, he devoured it as if it were some gourmet delicacy. I stared wide-eyed, watching this cool and handsome campus heartthrob gobble down the food as if competing with the trash can.
Hey, your shirt.
It's fine.
Ethan Parker glanced at it and then continued to devour the spaghetti with the speed of a whirlwind.
I'll transfer the money to you. Give me your payment code.
No need, it was going to be thrown away anyway.
I regretted it as soon as I said it. Wasn't I comparing Ethan Parker to a trash can? I'm doomed, he must hate me now.
I didn't mean that, I just.
I understand. It's okay.
Ethan Parker's face was full of conflict, his thick eyebrows knitted together. After a moment, he solemnly said,
Excuse me. Could I hire you as my personal chef?
I was full of question marks. What?
A monthly salary of $3,000, plus the cost of ingredients. Is that okay?
No problem, I promise to cook dishes worthy of a state banquet.
Ethan Parker seemed very busy and left quickly after adding me on WeChat. That evening, I received a message from Ethan Parker.
Excuse me. Could you take me to the hospital?
Thinking about how he had devoured my masterpiece earlier, and now he was contacting me about the hospital, I was certain something had gone wrong.
Sure, I'll come over now.
Under the trees near the East 16 male dormitory.
I sped over on my electric scooter and found him there, his cold face covered in beads of sweat.
I'll take you to the hospital right now.
Instinctively, I squatted down to let Ethan Parker get on my back.
I can still walk.
All right, I'll take you now.
I pointed to the yellow electric scooter 50 meters away. Ethan Parker shook his head, his sharp eyebrows furrowed, making my heart ache.
I don't want to be recognized.
Oh, I understood, a man's dignity. Under Ethan Parker's shocked gaze, I naturally took off my jacket and handed it to him.
Put this over your head, no one will recognize you.
After a few seconds of hesitation, Ethan Parker put on my jacket, which had little pink sheep on it.
Let's go, I'll lead you.
I held his hand, which was cool but smooth. Ethan Parker's hand paused noticeably but didn't pull away.
Who is that? Why is he out like that? So funny, is the person next to him his girlfriend?
The chatter of passers-by made even my thick-skinned self feel uncomfortable, let alone Ethan Parker.
Hurry up.
His annoyed voice was muffled by the jacket, leaving only a magnetic tone that even he didn't realize.
All right, I'll go faster.
I held his distinctively jointed hand and ran all the way, then rode my electric scooter to the nearest hospital.
Food poisoning, what did you eat?
I turned my head guiltily. Ethan Parker's face was cold, suppressing his anger.
Speak.
I made some failed spaghetti. it just got burnt.
I showed him the photos I took in class, a black mess that didn't reveal what it was.
Young couples these days really know how to have fun.
I scratched my head awkwardly and, driven by some inexplicable force, looked to Ethan Parker for help.
She's not my girlfriend.
His denial hurt my feelings. Why, I'm not that bad, am I?
Right, I'm just his cook. I warned him not to eat it, but he insisted. I couldn't do anything.
Ethan Parker didn't say a word, just shot me a sharp look. The low pressure around him was so cold it made people shiver.
Next time, try to judge the quality of the food before eating.
On the way back to school on my electric scooter, I casually said to Ethan Parker,
I confessed to you 3 years ago, and you rejected me.
I wasn't sure if the wind was too loud for Ethan Parker to hear, but the air turned eerily silent.
Hey, did you hear me?
Unable to bear the awkward atmosphere, I asked again.
Sorry, I don't remember.
Ethan Parker's clear voice carried such sincere apology that it made me feel a bit embarrassed.
It's okay, you're so handsome. It's normal not to remember me with so many people confessing to you.
According to unreliable sources, the number of people who had confessed to Ethan Parker could circle the track 3 times. It was a bright morning when 2 students met in the bustling corridor of the university.
Let's reintroduce ourselves. I'm Ethan Parker, a psychology major.
Emma Thompson, from the neighboring English department. Can I pursue you?
I wasn't one to hide my feelings, and I wanted to say this the moment I saw him this morning. But once again, I made things awkward.
I don't have the right to stop you from expressing your feelings.
Overjoyed, I thought, Ethan Parker was always distant and aloof, so allowing me to pursue him must mean he appreciated my unique culinary skills.
Then I won't charge you for the meals anymore.
No need, I'll still pay.
Hearing this, his image in my eyes grew even more impressive. Handsome, wealthy, and generous, the rumors were definitely true.
Do you want to wear my jacket?
The hospital and school were just 3 streets apart, and familiar faces were becoming more frequent on the road.
If you're going to pursue me, you'll be famous sooner or later.
My face turned crimson. I abruptly stopped, causing Ethan's handsome face to bump into my back.
How about some strawberry cake this afternoon? I just learned how to make it.
Under the dappled shadows of the trees, I looked up at him. The light spots on his face added a touch of gentle warmth.
Sure.
Just then, Ethan lowered his head, and our eyes met suddenly. My heart raced, blood rushed to my face, turning it bright red. His fair complexion made the blush on his ears particularly noticeable. He seemed shy and quickly turned his head to avoid my gaze.
Thank you, but I have something to attend to. I need to go.
In my eyes, his slightly trembling voice and hurried departure were endearingly innocent. Ethan Parker was known for his cold demeanor, and the only people close to him were his roommates. Coincidentally, his roommate Ryan Carter was pursuing Lily Evans. I immediately treated them to an expensive hot pot meal and finally got Ethan's class schedule.
Could you save me a seat next to Ethan in Mr. Brown's class this afternoon?
No problem.
Ethan arrived halfway through the class, and neither the classmates nor Mr. Brown were surprised.
What brings you here?
I brought you some strawberry cake.
I lowered my voice, deliberately leaning close to his ear. Ethan blushed again, giving me a sideways glance that wasn't stern but rather indulgent.
We're in class. Don't make a fuss.
I nodded, gently pushing the cake towards him.
Try it. I spent a long time making it.
Perhaps I liked him too much, as my tone carried a hint of coquettishness that even I didn't notice. Ethan, like a thief, propped up his book and secretly moved the cake over, not realizing this made him even more conspicuous.
Ahem, the girl sitting to Ethan's left, please answer this question.
Oh no, I had no idea. Standing up, my face turned as red as a monkey's bottom. Instinctively, I glanced down at Ethan. Seeing his usually indifferent face now with a hint of a smile made me feel slightly better.
Choose A.
He smirked, his tone teasing, clearly enjoying my predicament. But worried I might not hear, he even drew a big letter on his pristine textbook.
Mr. Brown, the answer is A.
I don't think I've seen you before. Are you Ethan's girlfriend?
I wished I were, but I hadn't won him over yet. Before I could deny it, Mr. Brown smiled again.
Impressive, young lady. After class, give me your student ID number, and I'll add you to the roster.
A bolt from the blue, I felt like I could just disappear.
Mr. Brown, she's from the neighboring English department. She might not be able to keep up with the course.
Ethan didn't deny Mr. Brown's assumption about our relationship and stood up gentlemanly to help me out. Thank goodness, how could there be someone as gentle as Ethan Parker in this world? I had to date someone like him in this lifetime.
That's easy. Let Ethan tutor you. Ethan, any objections?
Of course, no problem.
My mind was in a daze, stuck on his incredibly charming of course, no problem.
Then you and Ethan come to my office after class.
After leaving, while making pearl dumplings for Ethan Parker, I took a moment to glance at the confession wall. Ethan, being the student council president, handled things swiftly. All the rumors disappeared overnight.
I'm downstairs at East Building 16.
The summer wind was hot as I stood under a tree with breakfast, waiting for him.
Have you been waiting long?
Ethan smiled apologetically, producing a pair of delicate earrings from somewhere.
A peace offering. It's my fault you got involved.
It wasn't his fault at all. It was my impulsiveness that caused all the trouble by going to his class.
Why are you apologizing? It's all my fault for causing you so much trouble.
I handed him the breakfast listlessly, my head hanging low.
You're not a bother.
For 3 whole months, I stayed by Ethan's side as his cook, using my charm to get closer to him. Thanks to Mr. Brown's help and the perfect opportunity of tutoring sessions in the library, my relationship with Ethan progressed rapidly, just one step away from success. This Saturday, the school had organized a team-building hiking trip, and I had to seize this chance. I made some soup and sushi. At 6:30 on Saturday morning, I stood near the bus with a thermal lunchbox, waiting for Ethan.
Thank you.
We had arrived half an hour early. The thin mist shrouded the city, and even though I was standing so close to Ethan, I couldn't see him clearly.
Hey, Ethan, I get car sick, so I won't sit next to you.
Ryan Carter winked at me, signaling me to seize the opportunity.
Can I sit here?
Of course.
I heard you like horror movies. I've been watching some recently too.
I cautiously leaned in, trying to create some physical closeness, my hand accidentally brushing against his fingertips. Ethan didn't pull away. He leaned in and whispered in my ear.
Then you should try the house that Jack built. It's quite good.
He turned his head and closed his eyes. The bus ride was over an hour long, and I used the time to watch the movie at double speed. I don't get car sick, but after watching that movie, I felt nauseous. The film was filled with disturbing imagery, striking at the core of human nature and challenging moral boundaries, making my stomach churn. It was revolting. How could someone as upright as Ethan enjoy something like this? I couldn't believe it.
Don't like it?
Ethan suddenly opened his eyes, staring at me intently.
Don't you think the protagonist is quite twisted?
I forced myself to speak, suppressing the urge to vomit.
Sorry, I forgot to consider your threshold. As for the protagonist, yes, he's definitely twisted, but this is my area of study.
He seemed to be in a good mood, winking at me. Yet, something felt off, though I couldn't pinpoint what. The mountain trek was proving challenging. Ethan Parker's concern was evident.
If you're really tired, don't push yourself.
I won't slow us down. Narrator, Emma knew the poor signal on the mountain could spell trouble if they fell behind the group.
Can you sit with me for a bit? I can't go on.
Men shouldn't say they can't.
Regret washed over Emma as her face flushed red. She stole a glance at Ethan.
Can't go on? Narrator, his handsome features were softened by the shadows cast by the trees.
They sat on a stone bench by the roadside. Suddenly, a heavy rain began to pour. Emma started to panic.
Don't worry, there's a small cave over there where we can take shelter. Narrator, he placed his jacket over her head and led the way.
The temperature dropped significantly at night on the mountain. Ethan started a fire, and Emma glanced at her phone.
Damn, still no signal. Narrator, she had planned to confess her feelings to Ethan at the summit.
What's wrong? Narrator, his bare upper body was illuminated by the flickering firelight, his eyes shining like obsidian.
Feeling dizzy and disoriented, Emma walked straight towards him.
Ethan.
Yes?
Emma leaned down to plant a kiss on his cool lips. Ethan didn't push her away, his deep, dark eyes remaining calm.
Ethan, I've liked you for a long time. Will you be my boyfriend?
The cave was silent except for the crackling of the burning wood. After a long pause, Ethan spoke.
Sorry.
His deep, indifferent voice was like a sharp blade. Emma's eyes reddened, and her voice choked.
It's okay, it was just my wishful thinking.
The next morning, the rain had stopped, but Emma had developed a high fever. Ethan had to carry her down the mountain.
Rest in the car. Narrator, he bought her some fever medicine and water from a pharmacy.
Okay. Narrator, she fell asleep as soon as she got into the car.
Half awake, Emma felt someone take her phone, but she was too exhausted to open her eyes. Ethan was very considerate, instructing the driver to drop her off at her apartment complex.
Emma, we're home. Narrator, he gently patted her face.
Narrator, she struggled to get out of the car. Thank you.
Do you need help?
No, thanks. Narrator, she wasn't ready to face Ethan with a smile just yet.
Emma planned to rest for a day before trying to win him over again, but Lily Evans brought unsettling news.
Sweetie, let's give up. My dad said Ethan has liked that girl for a long time, even giving up a chance to go to Tsinghua University for her.
Emma's heart felt like it was being hammered, the pain unbearable. She realized that Ethan could sacrifice his future for someone he loved. All the ambiguous moments between them were just her imagination.
If he had someone in his heart, he should have told me sooner. Was it fun to string me along?
Emma felt unbalanced, not even caring about money anymore. But with only 3 days left in the month, she gritted her teeth and persevered.
Lily, I'll quit after this month. Can you ask Ryan Carter to help me catch up on my lessons?
Sure.
In the following days, Emma stuck to her principles, only delivering meals to Ethan and avoiding unnecessary interactions. The daily greetings were gone, and she stayed far away from him in Mr. Brown's class. Surprisingly, there weren't any rumors. Later, Emma found out that Ethan had personally dealt with the platform's responsible person and the initial spreader of the last incident, sending them to the hospital. Ethan seemed very busy lately, rarely attending Mr. Brown's classes. When Emma delivered his meals, he looked conflicted, his eyes filled with unshed tears, his lips moving but saying nothing. In the past, Emma would have been heartbroken and rushed to comfort him. But now that she knew the truth, she couldn't bring herself to be his fool anymore. Narrator, tone, serious. The last day of a month-long project had arrived.
Mr. Brown, tone, serious, did I do something wrong?
Mr. Brown called out to Ethan Parker after class, stopping him in his tracks.
Ethan Parker, tone. Confused, no you didn't.
Ethan shook his head, avoiding Mr. Brown's gaze.
Mr. Brown, tone, serious, then why did you ask Ryan Carter for tutoring?
Ethan tilted his head, full of confusion, his fingers digging into his palms, leaving marks.
Ethan Parker, tone. Serious, because I can't have feelings for you anymore.
Ethan took a deep breath and said slowly.
Mr. Brown, tone, angry, why? Does your affection only last 3 years?
Ethan half squatted, pinching Mr. Brown's face, forcing him to look into his eyes. In his dark eyes, there was a near cruel innocence.
Ethan Parker, tone. Shocked. I thought you would be special. Why not hold on a bit longer? Maybe one day, when I'm in a good mood, I'll agree to be with you.
The grip on Mr. Brown's face tightened, and Ethan saw his calm eyes suddenly turn stormy.
Ethan Parker, tone. Terrified Emma Thompson, you're making things difficult for me, you know?
Mr. Brown didn't understand. Shouldn't Ethan be happy that he wasn't clinging to him anymore?
Ethan Parker, tone. Downcast, your cooking has gotten worse.
Emma Thompson, tone. Shouting, what?
Ethan suddenly laughed like a child, his eyes crinkling, his tone innocent.
Ethan Parker, tone. Cheerful, Emma Thompson. Let's be together. Maybe then you'll like me a bit more.
Emma struggled to push Ethan away but couldn't.
Ethan Parker, tone. Confused. Why aren't you smiling? That's strange.
His hand moved from Emma's chin to the corner of her mouth, using his thumb and forefinger to force her lips into a smile.
Ethan Parker, tone. Cheerful, sweetheart. You look best when you smile.
Ethan assumed Emma had agreed to his confession, calling her sweetheart so naturally it gave her goosebumps.
Emma Thompson, tone serious. Ethan Parker, I don't like you anymore.
Emma said each word clearly, her eyes sincere. Ethan's eyes reddened suddenly. He rested his head on her shoulder, his long arms wrapping around her neck, looking pitiful.
Ethan Parker, tone. Sad. Is it so bad that I only want you?
His hands were cold, not like human warmth. Emma shivered, and Ethan seemed to want to comfort her, rubbing the back of her neck with his palm. As time passed, Emma's lack of response clearly annoyed Ethan. His grip tightened, and she felt a faint sense of suffocation.
Ethan Parker, tone. Whispering, sweetheart, do you like me?
Under the dim light, Ethan's eyes glowed eerily. Emma didn't dare say no, so she lied.
Emma Thompson, tone. Hopeful, I do.
The hand on her neck loosened, and Ethan smiled.
Ethan Parker, tone. Cheerful. That's great. We'll be very happy. Ethan Parker, tone. Cheerful. It would be wonderful if tonight's dessert is strawberry cake.
Emma met his expectant gaze and stiffly nodded.
Emma Thompson, tone. Serious, okay?
Ethan Parker, tone. Shy sweetheart. Look, my hand is hurting.
Ethan ran his fingers across her lips, but Emma didn't dare frown.
Ethan Parker, tone. Cheerful. Indeed, the red from fresh wounds is the most striking.
He leaned on her shoulder, laughing foolishly. Emma's mind was extremely tense, but her body involuntarily hugged Ethan back.
Emma Thompson, tone. Terrified, damn. He really is unpredictable.
Since that day, Ethan seemed to have changed. He became unusually clingy, often buying Emma expensive gifts and moving her into his off-campus apartment.
Emma Thompson, tone. Whispering I'm here.
Her body was almost completely trapped in his embrace. Emma was now very afraid of Ethan, almost always complying with his wishes.
Ethan Parker, tone. Serious. Haven't I been good to you? Why does today's food still taste strange?
He said, rubbing the earring he had given her 2 days ago.
Emma Thompson, tone. Shy, no, you've been very good to me. Maybe my cooking skills have regressed.
Emma didn't dare look at him. After spending time with Ethan, she roughly understood why he was so insistent on her loving him. He wasn't a pica sufferer, but something even more unsettling. It seemed he could only eat food Emma made with genuine emotion. Every time she cooked, Emma forced herself to recall the feelings she had for Ethan, but her body uncontrollably remembered the unsettling character from horror movies. The worst part was, she felt he and Ethan were alike.
Ethan Parker, tone. Serious. Liars must be punished.
Ethan's voice was a bit dazed. The next second, he wrapped his arms around Emma's waist.
Ethan Parker, tone. Cheerful, let's watch a movie together. The house that Jack built, okay?
Emma had no right to refuse, mechanically forcing a smile. Right, he liked seeing her smile.
Emma Thompson, tone. Friendly, okay?
He turned off the lights, the sudden darkness making Emma want to scream.
Ethan Parker, tone. Hopeful. Don't be afraid, sweetheart. I'm here.
The high-definition TV cast a cold white light, Ethan's face eerily overlapping with the unsettling characters. Fear surged like a deep-sea wave, rendering Emma unable to scream.
Ethan Parker, tone. Excited. Look, isn't his creativity wonderful?
Ethan pressed Emma's head, forcing her to watch the visually shocking human house. He smiled with pleasure, obsessively stroking her neck.
Emma Thompson, tone. Terrified, please don't.
Emma gasped, pressing her face against his hand.
Ethan Parker, tone. Unfriendly. Don't like it? Sorry.
He was the real deceiver. He knew Emma couldn't stand it that day, but still forced her to watch. Emma received an unexpected call from her childhood friend and brother, David Wilson.
Emma, would you like to have dinner with your brother tonight?
Sure.
Emma glanced at the message from Ethan Parker but chose not to reply. She knew that as long as she returned home obediently, Ethan would indulge her without limits. She took a taxi and headed over to meet David. Halfway through dinner, the door was forcefully kicked open. It was Ethan Parker, his face dark, exuding an aura of despair that Emma couldn't comprehend.
What are you doing here?
Emma grabbed David's hand to stop any confrontation.
Emma, why did you abandon me?
Ethan squatted down, looking up at Emma. Suddenly, he forcibly separated her and David's intertwined hands.
How did you find this place?
Guess.
What did you do to my phone?
You're so smart, sweetheart.
I can change my phone.
Sure, and I can reinstall everything.
It's been a long time, Ethan.
David Wilson spoke up from the other end of the table.
Didn't Ethan tell you? I'm his brother.
Emma looked at David, trying to process the information.
You're just an abandoned child of that old man who married into the family. How dare you compete with me?
Ethan's tone softened when he looked at Emma.
I only want my Emma, and Emma only wants me, right?
Emma nodded in agreement.
Emma, how can you betray me?
Emma was taken aback. Betray him? Weren't they just simple siblings?
Don't you want to marry Sophia Green? The support from the Green family is important to you, right?
David didn't respond, and Emma's head started to ache from the overload of information.
Isn't that what you wanted? Or do you want Emma to be your lover?
Emma looked at David, who was holding a cigarette, lost in thought. She realized he wanted to marry the Green family's heiress.
Ethan Parker, let's go.
Emma grabbed Ethan's hand and quickened her pace, escaping the villa that carried 2 years of her life. As they got into the car, Emma glanced back at the villa, now covered in moss.
Don't mind him, sweetheart. He didn't go abroad to study. The old man's business overseas had problems, and he went to please him.
What business?
Ethan avoided her gaze, unwilling to speak.
If you don't tell me, we'll break up. I might not be able to do what you want anymore.
A sudden break, and Ethan Parker glared at me fiercely, his eyes turning red again.
I don't want anyone else. Please, Emma, just hold on a little longer.
I couldn't tell if his feelings for me stemmed from genuine affection or from the most basic survival needs in Maslow's hierarchy. It was too difficult to judge.
You're so well off. If you wanted, there would definitely be someone who loves you, and then the food problem would naturally be solved. Isn't that better?
I tilted my head, mimicking Ethan's gesture.
No, only you will love me. They are all liars.
Ethan's eyes filled with tiny tears, and when he looked at me with those tearful eyes, it was hard for me to stay firm. He completely matched my aesthetic preferences.
Why didn't you accept my confession back then?
Third time's the charm. I was waiting for your third confession.
Ethan, even now you're still hiding things from me? What about your first love?
I don't have any first love, only you. Emma, did you give up on me because of this?
I didn't expect the expression on Ethan's face to be one of joy, his jade-like face slowly tinged with a blush.
Only you! It's you now, it was you in the past, and it will be you in the future.
Ethan rested his head on the steering wheel, his shoulders shaking, emitting a strange laugh.
My dear Emma, you were jealous, weren't you? That makes me so happy.
He lunged at me, his eyes half closed, muttering words I couldn't understand. I sensed something was wrong and tried to push him away, but the seatbelt restricted my movements. I could only let the passionate Ethan shower my face, ears, lips, and neck with countless kisses. He kissed hard, and my skin bruised easily, so I probably wouldn't be able to face anyone tomorrow. I tilted my neck back to accommodate his advances. That night, when we got home, Ethan pulled out a pack of Durex from somewhere and seriously asked if I wanted strawberry or orange flavor.
Get out!
He looked aggrieved, like a stray dog, rubbing against my leg, pestering me until I made a choice.
Strawberry.
His eyes lit up, and he pounced on me. The night was long, and I resigned myself to it. The next morning, my back suddenly felt warm as Ethan slowly leaned in. He liked to rest his chin on my collarbone and stare at me.
Get off!
I was still angry. I had cried a lot in the latter half of the night, and he kept saying it was the last time.
Emma, please, have mercy on me.
Ethan ignored my struggles, holding me tightly and biting hard on my collarbone. Suddenly, as if he remembered something, he got up and left the room. A few minutes later, he returned with several boxes, pulling out items like treasures: white, black, red, cotton, silk, linen. The more I looked, the more familiar they seemed, and the more familiar they were, the more alarmed I became. 5 years ago, my parents died in a car accident, and David Wilson offered to take care of me. With no one else to turn to, I moved into his house. The first month was peaceful, but then a pervert appeared. My intimate clothing, which I had hung in the garden to dry, would disappear in an instant. This happened frequently. After reporting it to the police, I found out I was the only victim in the neighborhood, and the police couldn't catch the culprit. I had to resort to drying my clothes indoors.
Ethan Parker, you pervert.
Only then did I believe that I could actually make Ethan Parker give up his first love at Tsinghua University. But now, I didn't feel his deep affection at all. I just felt incredibly unlucky. Ethan stared at me deeply, turning his head away, his features contorted. He seemed to be trying to compose himself, but his eyes still held a trace of obsessive madness.
Emma, you see, I love you the most. Can you love me the most too?
Ethan lowered himself, using a nearly pleading tone to appease me. I didn't dare make any promises lightly. To keep him calm, I made his favorite sweet and sour ribs.
Emma, darling, the food you made today is amazing.
Did my cooking suit his taste again? I was startled. Could it be that I was unconsciously falling for him again?
Emma Thompson, you're going to be doomed by your desires.
After that day, my relationship with Ethan Parker inexplicably improved a lot. He was actually quite easy to please. As long as I provided 3 meals a day and a goodnight kiss, he would listen to me.
Emma, did I do something wrong again? Why is the strawberry cake bitter?
Ethan pouted, looking pitiful as he whined to me. I swore it wasn't intentional revenge. He had gone too far the night before, leaving me sore all over and extremely annoyed. Inevitably, I made the cake with a bit of resentment, which affected the taste.
Darling, don't be mad. I'll buy you a pretty dress, okay?
Oh, by the way, Ethan could tell if I was angry from the taste of the food. If I wasn't angry, we would live in peace and harmony. If I was angry, he would go out of his way to please me. Life was quite comfortable this way. The winter of our graduation year, I brought Ethan Parker home to visit my late parents.
Do you think your parents will like me?
You don't need to be so nervous. My parents were very kind.
Ethan took it very seriously, wearing his most formal black suit and holding a large bouquet of white lilies. He paced anxiously, a rare sight. With a nearly reverent posture, he offered incense to my parents and said,
Mom, Dad, don't worry. I will take good care of Emma.
Tears welled up in my eyes. Once upon a time, David Wilson had also promised to take care of me forever, but 3 years ago, he left for America without a word, leaving me behind. On the way back, a light snow began to fall. Ethan, worried I might catch a cold, took out a pure white scarf from his bag and gently wrapped it around my neck.
When did you knit a new one?
Just a couple of days ago.
Ethan was infatuated with dressing me up like a doll. The mountain road was difficult to navigate, and by the time we got home, the moon was already high in the sky. As the sensor light turned on, I saw David Wilson leaning against the door, smoking. The smoke rings blurred his features.
David, why are you here?
I instinctively stepped in front of Ethan, fearing that this madman might attack him. But David seemed provoked by my action and extinguished his cigarette.
3 years ago, you set me up to go to America to deal with that organ trafficking mess, didn't you?
My eyes widened, and I instinctively turned to look at Ethan. He wrapped his long arm around my waist, holding me tightly.
Didn't you make any money?
Ha ha ha. Emma, do you know you've chosen a man with no moral compass, no empathy, a madman?
Were you involved in any of this?
My fingernails dug deeply into my palms, fearing he would say yes.
My hands are as clean as yours.
He kissed my hand tenderly, frowning slightly. He never liked seeing my hands hurt, so his gaze towards David was icy.
Did I force you to go to America? Did I make you stay in that hospital controlled by the old man? Did I make you abandon Emma?
David's back seemed to buckle under the weight of 1,000 pounds. He broke down, shouting.
It was my greed. Emma, let's leave together.
He rushed towards me, looking no different from a desperate fugitive on TV. I stood frozen, time slowing down. Suddenly, a great force pushed me, and I instinctively closed my eyes. My head hit the wall with a thud. When I opened my eyes again, I saw crimson blood, Ethan's and David's. The white scarf Ethan had knitted for me was stained with sticky blood. Ethan turned his head, his eyes gentle like a pool of moonlight. His mouth moved, but his throat was injured. I strained to hear and guess.
Ethan, don't be afraid. I will always protect you.
I crawled towards him, pushing away David, who had been injured in the struggle with Ethan. Trembling, I dialed 911 and 110, gently wiping the blood from Ethan's face. Why won't it come off? Why? The sound of ambulances and police cars shattered the neighborhood's peace. Neighbors peeked out to see the commotion. Amid the chaos, I seemed to hear someone say,
I told you, Emma Thompson is a jinx. She brings misfortune to her family and loved ones.
My mind was blank as I handled the aftermath. When talking to the police, I learned that David's involvement in organ trafficking had been exposed, and he was wanted by the police in City A. He had returned here in utter despair, hoping to drag someone down with him. Half a month later, on New Year's Eve, Ethan woke up from his severe injuries. I was lying by his bedside when I felt a touch on my face. I looked up to see Ethan, pale but smiling at me.
Emma, I want some corn and rib soup.
Brilliant fireworks exploded in the night sky, and the hospital TV showed the countdown to the new year.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
I looked at Ethan's handsome face and smiled, nodding.